Hey y'all, welcome to Homesteader Monday. I'm Madden from Self-Reliance Publishing, and today we're going to talk about my book called An Old-Time Guide to Raising Chickens. But before we do that, if you're new to this channel, I just want to point out that I'm not just here to sell my product. I work really hard to provide lots of free content about self-reliance, everything dealing with self-reliance. I post 3 videos a week. Monday, the topic is homesteading. We have Homesteader Monday. Then we have Bushcraft Wednesday and Prepper Friday. So be sure to check out my other videos and consider subscribing if you haven't done so. With that said, let's jump back to the book. I just launched my website this past weekend, and so the book, An Old-Time Guide to Raising Chickens, is now available to you, and I'm really excited about that. The vision behind this book was to provide the reader with the knowledge necessary to raise a small flock of chickens as self-sustainably as possible with as few outside inputs as possible. And I think that I have accomplished that. I took a bunch of different pamphlets that were published by different governmental organizations from the early 1900s through the mid-1900s and sort of took pamphlets about different topics and put them together to provide sort of a cohesive coverage of the topic of raising chickens with self-reliance and self-sustainability in mind. An example of this would be there's a chapter in there about feeding chickens, and it talks about the nutritional requirements of different types of chickens and different life stages for different purposes. And it gives you a recipe for chicken feed that would provide them the nutrients that they require, but it also tells you what they need and how you can go about formulating your own feed so you can create a feed using material that's readily available to you or that you can produce yourself. So that's one example. Another example would be I've got a chapter in here about incubating eggs and a chapter about brooding chicks. And both those chapters talk about how to do that naturally using hens and how to do it artificially but without any sort of electricity or other form of utilities. So, like I said, the goal really was to provide the knowledge not just to raise chickens, but to raise it as self-reliantly as possible. And I think that it turned out pretty well. There's 11 different chapters in here, so we're going to run down the table of contents here. Chapter 1 is breeds of chickens. Then we've got poultry houses and fixtures, homemade poultry equipment, feeding chickens, breeding stock, incubating, brooding, capones. Capone is sort of the chicken equivalent to a steer. It's a male that's been castrated, and they grow quicker, grow bigger, and have better food conversion. So capones, killing chickens, preserving eggs, and chicken diseases. So again, the preserving eggs is another sort of example of how I try to pull material that will allow you to raise chickens and use their products as self-reliantly as possible. Talks about preserving eggs without any form of electricity or refrigeration. So the book is available on my website, self-reliancepublishing.com, and it is $10, which I feel is a good value. It's a good book for you if you want to get started raising chickens and you know nothing about them. It provides you the basics of what you need to know to get started. But even if you've been raising chickens for years, I believe it has something to offer, and I believe you'll be able to get $10 worth of knowledge out of it. I'm not a good salesman. I don't like to sell for the sake of selling. I'm only willing to sell if I believe that it's a good product and a good value. And I believe in this. I'm very happy with how it turned out, and I believe that it will be beneficial to you if you're interested in chickens. So be sure to check that out. I really appreciate your views. As always, appreciate every like, every comment, and every subscribe. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.